Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Pathfinder Plays, and today I am going to be taking the deep dive into Dead Matter's lore system. Lore is a very important aspect to many games. It's what gets players involved in the world, care about the choices they make, and perhaps who to align with. But is lore important in a game like Dead Matter? What kind of lore will we find? Are we going to find out what happened to the planet to make Dead Matter universe exist? These are the questions that I will be covering in this video, along with any other confirmed lore features. Let's go. There are many games like Dead Matter on paper. Open world, check. Zombies or infected people, check. Scavenging and searching for stuff, check. But one of the things that sets Dead Matter apart is the lore and story. The first question I asked before was, is the story important in a game like Dead Matter? And I would say yes to a degree. Sure, it can exist without it, but without a story that people care about, Dead Matter will be destined to turn into a mere sandbox experience. People wandering around, killing each other, not even knowing why they are doing it or why they are there. Without story, Dead Matter would just be an updated DayZ, and that is no good for anybody. Without lore, the factions would not really make sense because you would have unanswered questions like, who are these people, how did they survive, and more. If you want a thriving and living world, you want lore, and that is what Dead Matter is trying to deliver. They plan on giving us a living world where locations matter. In many survival games, you go from building to building and find only crafting materials and supplies, but in terms of intimate or personal items, it is as if nobody had set foot in these buildings before. No notebooks or diaries to find, no photos to look at, no computers to search through, nothing. Dead Matter wants to do lore differently and give players the opportunity to not only find useful loot, but meaningful lore that will keep the search experience fresh. Who knows? Maybe it will give you some roleplay opportunities depending on how in-depth the lore is you find in a certain house. The good thing about storytelling is that it can be sneaky, or perhaps in the backdrop of what is currently in the foreground. Generation Zero, for all its flaws, has moments where the storytelling is clear. You walk into a house with a robot destroyed, oil and blood mixed together on the ground, and bullet holes paint the walls. Broken glass shatters on the ground, open door to the left. These props tell a story of what occurred before you arrived and makes your journey more meaningful than if it weren't there. A big portion of lore and storytelling is going to come from exploration. Dead Matter is proud of having a living world that actively fights against being a walking simulator. There are various kinds of buildings that you have the chance to go search while you explore, and these different buildings can give you different pieces to the puzzle of what happened prior. You may go into a police station for ammo and guns and body armor and come out with all of that plus some police transcripts that depict a horrible 911 call that resulted in the death of an officer or citizen. Maybe you go to a hospital and find a block of the hospital barricaded off with loose furniture and zombie snarls on the other side of the door. Perhaps you may even go into somebody's home and find a note written by a man who loves his wife but didn't have the courage to put her out of her misery when she turned. You then make your way up the stairs and find a locked bedroom door with scratching on the other side. These are the kinds of stories and interactions you can have with the world that will make a difference. These can alter your mood, make or break your day, and perhaps make a simple fetch quest into something way more powerful. Along with exploration and world interactions, you will also come across NPCs to gather lore from. These characters will not be boring or lifeless. Each character is sculpted to have their own independent backstory that will explain who they are, who they were, and perhaps you will find out more about them the higher your reputation is, and make sense as to why they are having you do the things you're doing or why they act the way they act. Each character you come across are victims of the same catastrophe that you are going to suffer through, and it will be apparent. Something that you can perhaps think of to flesh this idea out is Deadside. Deadside has traders you can go to and interact with to sell items, but that is as far as your relationship goes. They are lifeless besides a few lines they say. But what if they have quests to give out as well? What if there were conversation topics that got unlocked the more you frequented them in their establishment? What if they weren't just glorified vending machines, but people with believable backstories that carried emotional weight? It would make your visits to the traders that much more enriching, not just physically, but emotionally as well. One of the characters in Dead Matter that we all know about is Duke Cartilage.
It's in their name. Just listen. Emergency management. They might as well just say final solution. So close for population growth.
If you turn your radio on, you very well may hear this man's voice who gives his opinions on the current state of the world and certain decisions that were made, but he also tries to be a source of information for survivors. He will mention points of interest, talk about incoming bad weather, and perhaps dangerous factions battling it out in a certain area. This is very similar to The Division and their pirate radio host. The issue will obviously be making the radio host too repetitive, but the writer, Reggie Bless, is no doubt aware. As mentioned earlier, certain NPCs can give you tasks or assignments to complete, and as you could no doubt guess, these quests will offer not only rewards but lore as well. There is no main mission for you to complete. The main mission of Dead Matter is the same as the main mission of DayZ, which is the same as the main mission as Scum: survive. But what Dead Matter does do is give you NPCs, traders, and factions who will give you tasks to encourage exploration, point you to more stories and loot, and make your searching more exciting in general. The number of different encounters you have with these NPCs will give you great replay value because the outcomes will all be different. What happens if I support this faction this time? How would they have reacted if I didn't do this? What if I had delivered this item on time? These are the diverse and dynamic choices that will give you replayability in this game, besides the amazing world to explore. Your choices matter in Dead Matter. What you do for one faction or NPC may negatively affect your reputation with another faction. This may make them attack you on sight, refuse to trade with you or give you safe harbor, and perhaps just make them bitter towards you. Having this kind of risk-reward relationally will make you choose different paths again and again, and though you have the ability to balance out your reputation system with each of the factions, if you do so, you will miss out on a special reward that only becomes available when you get a faction to the highest possible reputation level. Dead Matter is all about progression. There is gear progression, timeline progression, zombie progression, and yes, even faction and mission and story progression. Decisions matter in Dead Matter. The fact that we have an open world, non-linear survival game that offers both great gameplay and progressive storytelling is amazing. You don't come across a game like this very often, and when you do, it lacks in certain areas. Dead Matter has the benefit of coming in after many mistakes were done by other games, which gives them the benefit of learning and correcting before release. I can't wait to get into Dead Matter and not only discover built-in stories, but make my own. If you guys are interested in playing on my upcoming role-playing server and like scares, survival, and scavenging, then join my Discord down below, hit that subscribe button, and share this video with your friends, and I will see you guys in the next one. Path out.